Rex Harrison was an actor from Hollywood's golden age who made a name for himself as a suave and sophisticated gentleman on screen. But it seems the actor was actually pretty rude in real life. One of his most significant roles was Henry Higgins in My Fair Lady. He played the part in a Broadway production and then reprised the role for the Hollywood film. This gave him the chance to work with both Julie Andrews and Audrey Hepburn, but it seems Rex treated them poorly, and that only scratches the surface of his bad behavior. Join Facts First to explore why everyone refuses to watch Rex Harrison these days. Rex Harrison felt he was My Fair Lady's main star. Rex played Henry Higgins in the original Broadway production of My Fair Lady, as well as its 1964 Hollywood film adaptation. The Broadway had cast him alongside Julie Andrews, while he got to appear alongside Audrey Hepburn in the film. While most people would have been incredibly happy for the chance to work with these two great stars, it seems Rex considered himself better than both of them. Of course, the main character of My Fair Lady is Eliza Doolittle. She is the titular Fair Lady, and the character of Henry Higgins is the character who helps her undergo her stunning transformation. The play My Fair Lady was based on an earlier play called Pygmalion, which followed a high society man attempting to make over a low society girl and make her presentable. The play My Fair Lady follows a similar story. Henry Higgins is the high society man, and Eliza Doolittle is the low society girl. The role of Henry Higgins required Rex Harrison to act like he was a higher-class citizen than his female co-stars, both on stage and screen, but it didn't call for him to replicate these behaviors in real life. Throughout the original Broadway run, however, it seems Rex Harrison got to feeling he was quite a bit better than Julie Andrews. Rex treated her incredibly poorly when the curtains were drawn. When Audrey Hepburn was cast in the role in the film adaptation, Rex treated her even more poorly than he had treated Julie. Rex Harrison wasn't the first choice to play Henry Higgins. Despite going on to win a Tony Award for his performance in the Broadway musical, Rex was pretty far from being the producer's first choice. Some of the many actors they offered the role to first include George Sanders, Michael Redgrave, and Noel Coward. The reason the producers were skeptical of hiring Rex was Rex wasn't that great of a singer, but he got the part and impressed audiences with his talents. Given that Rex was almost deemed too untalented to get the role, one might assume the actor would have been a bit more humble with his co-workers. But once he got the role, he came onto the production with the idea that he was the main star and the show was about him. Rex figured he was the one drawing audiences into the venue, and he considered co-star Julie Andrews secondary. Andrews was already an experienced star by the time she got the role in the original Broadway production, and she wasn't in the mood to put up with Rex's bad behavior. But when Audrey Hepburn was offered the chance to replace her in the role for the film adaptation, she was slightly less weathered of an actress and ended up finding herself more susceptible to being hurt by Rex's rudeness. Before we tell you more about that, be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. Julie Andrews didn't put up with Rex's bad behavior. During the Broadway run, Rex Harrison did his best to try to dominate production. However, Julie Andrews wasn't having any of it. The two apparently butted heads nearly every day, though that didn't stop the play from being a massive success. Some of the more famous examples of them not getting along include a story about Rex storming out of the theater and proclaiming he was going to quit if Julie wasn't fired. Another memorable incident occurred when Rex decided he was no longer interested in singing the now classic line, "I've grown accustomed to your face," to his female co-star. It seems Rex had indeed grown accustomed to Julie's face, but not in a good way. When it came time to adapt My Fair Lady into a film, producers were uncertain about handing the lead roles back to Rex Harrison and Julie Andrews. The producers felt that neither of the stars was famous enough, and they also weren't all that fond of the way they had behaved during the Broadway run. In the end, Rex Harrison ended up being able to keep his role of Henry Higgins, while Julie was forced to find work elsewhere. She went on to appear in Mary Poppins instead, and that likely did much more for her career than My Fair Lady would have. When it came time to cast Henry Higgins in the adaptation, there were numerous actors that producers approached before deciding to allow Rex Harrison to reprise the role from the original Broadway run. Some of the actors approached include Laurence Olivier, Rock Hudson, Peter O'Toole, and Cary Grant. But the role went to Rex. Meanwhile, the role of Eliza Doolittle was given to popular Hollywood film star Audrey Hepburn, who had recently starred in Breakfast at Tiffany's. Rex treated Audrey even worse than Julie. The producers hoped Rex Harrison would treat their new leading lady better than he treated Julie Andrews, but the actor ended up being even more mean to Audrey Hepburn. One person who's told horror stories about the way Rex behaved is Andre Previn. Andre was the musical arranger for the film, and he claimed, until his recent death, that Rex Harrison was the most appalling human he'd ever worked with. The main reason Andre took a disliking to Rex was because of the way the star treated Hepburn. According to Andre, Rex was incredibly mean to Audrey and also an all-around nightmare to work with regardless. In addition to being abused by Rex Harrison, Audrey Hepburn also had other things to worry about after accepting the role. Fans of the original Broadway musical were understandably put off when the incredibly talented Julie Andrews was replaced with the decidedly less talented Audrey Hepburn just because the latter figure was a slightly bigger star. Audrey's singing voice was infamously dubbed over in the film, much to the chagrin of the star herself. At that year's Academy Awards, Julie Andrews won an award for her performance in Mary Poppins, and Hepburn won nothing at all. Rex Harrison went on to win an Academy Award for his role as Henry Higgins in the film adaptation, which goes to show the Academy likely didn't get the memo that the star was a jerk. But Audrey certainly walked away from the production of the film the wealthier of the two. Rex made $250,000 on it, while Audrey made $1 million. This fact certainly made it difficult for Rex to convince himself that he was the bigger star of the two, but he still managed to do it. Rex Harrison was mean to everyone. While the horror stories involving Rex during both the original Broadway run and film production of My Fair Lady are certainly amongst the worst involving the actor, they aren't the only ones. He seems to have been universally derided by both his male and female co-stars over the course of his career, with actor Patrick Macnee claiming Rex was one of the most horrible people he'd ever met. Now it's time to hear from you. Which part of this story was most surprising to hear about? Let us know in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content. By the way, if you haven't joined Facts First as a member yet, be sure to look below this video and click the join button. By becoming a paid member of Facts First, you'll get access to exclusive video content that you won't find anywhere else. This includes some of our more mature content that isn't suitable for public audiences, which includes topics like Hollywood actresses who posed for Playboy and some of the steamiest moments in movie history. Plus, you can enjoy these videos completely ad-free. Our biggest fans will notice they also get badges next to their name when they leave comments on our videos. We pay special attention to comments from our members, and so do other viewers. So if you want exclusive content from Facts First or inside access to discussions with other community members, click the join button to get started for just $4.99. There are hours of members-only videos waiting for you, with new videos added every month. And we're actively working on bringing even more features to help fans like you connect with other members and get more of your favorite content. Just click join, and we'll see you inside the membership tab.